Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So, in this video, we're gonna start Unit 12, a chain landscape, passive, simple, passive. So, guys, I started from Unit 13 till because I got 13, 12, 11, 10, 9 units. And after all, I have to make all by myself, so it takes time. So, we're gonna start unit. So I started from unit 13, and we're gonna start from unit 12 today. A grammar book, Oxford International Grammar Book. So let's go. Listen and read. A journal list is intriguing. The mayor about village was rebuilt to show life in the UK in the 1918s. So let's listen to the audio.
Page 62. Unit 12. A changed landscape. A. Listen and read.
When was the village opened?
The idea was discussed in the 1950s by a group of librarians, and a collection of maps and old photos was started. In the 1970s, a plan was discussed to rebuild a village on a piece of land which had only old coal mines and empty factories. Work began soon afterwards, and a few buildings were erected. Then in 1980, a tram line was installed to transport visitors to the center of the village.
Were lots of other buildings moved at that time?
Yes, they were. Lots of shops, houses, and factories were moved and rebuilt. Even a school, a movie theater, and a fairground were open to the public.
Was everything moved at the same time?
No, it wasn't. The fairground and the movie theater weren't moved until later. It's very complicated. For example, all the bricks were numbered and photographed, and then they were put onto trucks and taken there.
Is the village complete now?
No, it is developing all the time. A complete 1930s street, for example, was added in 2010.
Let's get the next pair. Read again, and then the past participle is the verb that comes with it. We already did it, so let's circle the word. The first is open, was discussed, was started, was discussed, was erected, were installed, was installed, moved, were moved, rebuilt, were opened, were moved, was, weren't, this number and photograph, were and put, taken, were, was. So read and learn. Simple past passive. Use the passive to emphasize the action, or if you do not know who did the action. When was this museum opened? It was opened in 1980. A 1930s street wasn't added until 2010. Make the simple past passive with the subject plus was, verb plus past participle, seen, played, etc. Affirmative is the village was open. Negative is the fairground and the movie theater weren't moved until later. And the question is, were lots of other buildings moved at the time? Yes, they were. No, they weren't. So the past participle is often the same as the simple past form of the verb. However, some of the most common English verbs have irregular past participle. E dot G dot E. Eat, eaten, have, had, swim, swum. There is a list on page 112 used by to show who did the action. The idea was discussed in 1950 by a group of library. So let's go ahead. Complete the sentence. Use a simple past passive. The wasteland was changed. Work in a village was began in the 1970s. All the bricks were numbered and photographed. A school was rebuilt in the 1950s. The 1930 house, no, I mean the village wasn't rebuilt in 1950s. The 1930 houses weren't moved until 2010. Let's go next. Write a sentence with the simple past perfect. A collection of maps and old photos was started. Number two, a plan discussed to rebuild village. A plan was discussed to rebuild village. Number three, a train line was installed to transport visitors. Number four, lots of ship houses and factories were rebuilt. Number five, a movie theater and fairground were opened to the public. Number six, the brick were taken to the village. Now let's go to next. Change from active to passive. They rebuilt the village. The village was rebuilt. They moved school and factory. A school and factory were moved. The collection of maps and photos was started by the librarians. Number four, the building were rebuilt at the same time. Number five, the fairground and the movie theater weren't moved until later. Number six, a few buildings were erected in the 1970s. So let's go next. Write short answers to the yes no question. Was the village open 1950? No, it wasn't. Was a plan discussed to build village in the 1970s? Yes, it was. Were fairground and movie theater moved before the school? No, they weren't. Were all the bricks photographed and numbered? Were and numbered? Yes, they were. Was the tram line installed? Take with visitor to the old coal mine? No, it wasn't. Who was a complete 1933 added in 2010? Yes, it was. Look at the two photos. Listen, complete the text about the history of Dubai, a city. Okay, now I have an idea here.
Page 65. F. Listen and fill in the blanks. Dubai was changed very quickly. The desert was made into a modern city. Very tall buildings were erected. The roads were constructed for cars, not for camels. Lots of hotels and restaurants were built for visitors. Many foreign banks and shopping malls were opened there. Everything was designed to attract tourists and business people. In 2011, a tram system called the Dubai Metro was installed to transport people quickly around the city. It was opened by the Sheikh. Dubai wasn't built for the present. It was designed for the future.
So Dubai was converted. The desert was made into a modern city. Very tall buildings were erected. The roads were constructed for cars, not for camels. Lots of hotels and restaurants were built for visitor. Many foreign banks and shopping malls were opened there. Everything was designed to attract tourists and business people in 2009. A tram system called the Dubai Metro was installed to transport people quickly around present it no I mean the city. It was opened by the Sheikh Dubai. Wasn't built for the present, it was designed for the future. Let's go next. Match the text in the picture, write a number, then highlight 10 simple present passive intact. This is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make your own volcano, 2 spoons of semolina. So here we have 2 spoons of semolina and 6 spoons of I think it's bicarbonate of soda, and put in a glass bottle. The bottle is shaken to mix them up. The bottle is taken outside and is put on the ground. Sand is filled up around the bottle like a mountain until only the neck shows. This is the volcano. A sheet of paper is used to make funnel. The liquid is poured carefully into the bottle. The volcano erupts. Why does it erupt? Vinegar and carbons of soda react together. Carbon dioxide forms. uh, Bubbles are formed. These bubbles push the semolina and food coloring uh, out of the top of the bottle. First one is are put, second is shaken, third is filled, fourth are added, five is taken, six is put, seven is filled up, eight is used, nine is poured, 10 is formed, 11 are formed. Well, they said 10, but but if you find more, you can. 9, 10, 11, and 11. Match the two parts of the sentence. The mountain destroyed by the eruption is destroyed by the school are closed so the children can go home. The crops are buried by the ash. People are told to leave their homes. 5. The loud explosion is heard many miles away. Sheikh's reports are written and sent to the mayor. Read the simple present passive states, change them into negative sentences. Buildings are destroyed by the eruption. Tourists are told when it's dangerous, climb the mountain. Tourists aren't told when it's dangerous, climb the mountain. Crops are damaged. Crops aren't damaged. For the information is sent to the newspaper reporters. The information isn't sent to the newspaper reporters. And next one is the mayor is told to call a meeting. The mayor isn't told to call a meeting. The eruption is seen all over the world. The eruption isn't seen all over the world. The noise is heard far away. The noise isn't heard far away. Now, make the simple present passive statement into questions. Crops are grown on the volcano. Are crops grown on the volcano? Magma is pushed inside the mountain. Is magma pushed up inside the mountain? It's called. Is information collected? Information is collected. Is information collected? The data is analyzed. Is the data analyzed? Sample of gas are collected. Are sample of gas collected? Tourists are told to climb the mountain. Are tourists told to not to climb the mountain? Now I think this is the last. Wait. Reed interviewed the manager of Australian Green Children Museum in Stockholm. Fill in the blanks with verb in parentheses in the past passive. Interviewer: where did the ideas of building Fairytale Village came from? Manager: the idea of creating a village of setting from Astral books was discussed in late 1970s by three Stockholm families. Interviewer: and when was the construction started? The manager: the first house was built in 1981. And when was interviewer: and when was the village completed? Manager: many of other settings were added by about 1985. Interviewer: were all the buildings designed by the same three families? No. In 1989, the village was bought by a big company. The other settings were rebuilt by them. Interviewer: are only films made this year? Yes, two films of Astrid stories were made in the 1990s. Okay, we have one more. Read these reviews of the village and complete with past passive form of the verb. Tori Nandan, have you visited the fairy tale village in Sweden? What do you think if it's Maya Stroken? I remember when the first house was built in the park was changed. A cafe was opened in one of the new streets leading to the park was offered there. It was a great place to work. I was made manager after a month and was paid. Yenya Malmo. I was taken to the village for my birthday when I was 10. It was great. Okay, end of the slide. So that was the end of the video. So I hope you like. Make sure to subscribe and turn the notification on. So I'll see you guys in the next video tomorrow.